morning mga kaibigan! Welcome to In My Toolbox. Of course, this is your weekly talk show for your personal finance and business only here at PHLV Radio. The goal of the show mga kaibigan is to give you financial and business information that you may be able to use on your day-to-day financial and business decisions. Of course, mga kaibigan, we will unbox topics that would hopefully aid you, guide you, and maybe even add to your financial and business tools. Mga kaibigan, we will tackle important information that is mostly not taught in school. But of course, it's so much needed to empower you financially and in your business. As usual, in any idea that will transpire in the show, mga kaibigan, always consult with your financial advisors, insurance professionals, tax consultants, your business consultants, etc., etc., etc. Again, mga kaibigan, my name is Enrico. You're listening to In My Toolbox. If you want to get in touch with me, of course, you can email me at enrico.inmytoolbox@gmail.com. Alright, mga kaibigan. I know this is another episode of In My Toolbox. I'm just so excited because I want to go back to a very good topic about credit. Because I've heard you guys are actually wanting to know more about, of course, how to improve your credit. So let me ask you a question. Who amongst you guys here do not like to improve their credit? No, nobody, of course, right? Of course, you can improve your credit score by making, of course, we already know this one, on-time payments. Right. All right, okay. Keeping balances low. All right. I know you guys have been doing this. And of course, limiting new credit applications. We know that. All right. Okay. Now, of course, I would like to add on some more things that you can actually use to improve your credit score. Is that okay? All right. So, the cost of borrowing in 2023 actually went up. Okay? And now it's 2024. You know the story. You know how it works, right? So, this is actually what it means is that you are going to pay higher interest rate on credit cards or personal loans or your mortgages. Fortunately, today, mga kaibigan, taking steps to improve your credit, that's what we're talking about today, can definitely help you lower the cost of borrowing. Of course, mga kaibigan, good credit means just having a FICO score of, let's just say, 670 score or higher. And then the higher the score, of course, the more access that you will be able to have to the most favorable or least expensive loan. Of course, credit card options, and of course, a good credit can help you in so many ways, like by making it easier for you to even just rent an apartment, right? Okay, so for example, if you're ready to commit, right? If you're ready to commit to improving your credit score today and moving forward, well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. What are some ideas that will be able to help you improve your credit score? A good thing. Holiday just passed, right? So if you had a windfall, during the holidays, well, you can actually put that towards your debt. Like if you're carrying balances that you've been having a difficult time of paying off, you could use any windfall that you received last holiday season to take a chunk out of that debt. So holiday bonuses, that's one, right? Or any cash gifts from loved ones. You can actually use these gifts, right? That you can put it into your high interest debts. That makes sense, right? But let me ask you, are you willing to do it, or do you have the discipline to do it? That's another story. But if you do have those windfalls, mga kaibigan, that will definitely put your debt, especially those high interest debts, and you can actually lower it. Okay? So another thing that you may think of improving your credit score is, set up automatic bill payments. When you say set up automatic bill payments, you can actually set it up even just on the minimum amount. Just make sure that, to make sure that you're paying your debt on time. And of course, this is to avoid missing monthly loans or monthly credit card payments or whatever bills that you have. Just put it in auto pay. That's what it is, right? And of course, you make sure when you do that, you have enough money in your checking account to be able to cover those bills, and then that will definitely avoid you to have an overdraft, because that's another problem, right? Because right now we're actually trying to focus on lowering your debt, right? Or to be able to improve your credit. Now, if you set it up in an auto pay and then you don't have money to cover those, another problem will arise, such as the overdraft. We don't like that. So when you won't have to deal with a sudden score dip after a forgotten bill, you can focus on other ways to improve credit, right? Now, that's where autopay comes in. Now, another thing that you may take into consideration is to pay down balances. The second most crucial component in your credit score is your credit utilization, meaning how much of your credit is being utilized. So, how much revolving debt you're actually carrying compared with your total available credit. So you would see when you look at your reports for your credit score, you would see there about credit utilization. Sometimes it says it tells you if it's fair, if it's good, right? So you would know where you're at when comparing onto your credit utilization. You have to make it a goal to be able to reduce any high interest credit debt first, because this is actually most likely will cost you more money in interest than like, I don't know if you could compare it to an auto loan or like your student loan. So you have to look at it. What's actually in your debt is giving you a very high interest rate. So decreasing your credit card balances will actually definitely show you that potential lenders that you're actually responsible with your credit. Now, experts will suggest to you keeping your credit utilization at least about 30% of your credit limit at all times definitely will have you able to improve your credit. So that's another thing that you would want to think about. Look into your credit utilization. How much of those credit that you're actually utilizing and how often are you utilizing it? So when you look at it right now, for example, if you have $1,000, are you using it all up? And you're just paying the minimum balance, definitely credit utilization there is almost 100% if you just pay the minimum amount, right? So that's what it means, that you try to monitor your credit utilization and then pay your balances. Another one that you would want to think about to improve your credit score is handling debt, in collection. So if you're currently have those unpaid debt and it actually is in collections, you might want to consider negotiating it down. Or maybe if you look at your debt, if there's something to dispute about, you might want to dispute it. If you look at it as if there's an error, more likely you'll find one, and that will definitely help you improve it, right? So a debt collection is likely more than 3 months past due, and it goes to collection, and it's either the original creditor or the debt collector now may be contacting you. Well, very frequently, you see those numbers that you're not familiar with. That might be it, right? So they're going to be looking for payments from you. So you have to, when that happens, you have the right to request the debt collector, to stop contacting you. But it's definitely going to be for your best interest to deal with that debt. You don't want debt lying around there and you're not attending to. But, as I've said, you have the right to request them that they could stop calling you or contacting you. But it's just but right for you guys to finalize all of this debt, right? So you may pay off the debt in full, or maybe when you negotiate with them, You look for that settlement account with that lender, because ignoring this debt could mean that it's going to wreck you, definitely, your credit, and potentially there could be some lawsuits, and it will lead you to some garnishments of your wages, or maybe put a lien against your property. We don't want to be in that position, right? So again, you would want to connect with them, although you have the right not to, just tell them, hey, please stop contacting me. But then again, guys, it's a debt. We would want to make sure that we settle it, right? Now, another way of improving your improving your credit, is get a credit builder loan. Okay, so what is a credit builder loan? So if you're focused on building credit from scratch, because, or maybe you would want to recover, after a very bad hit on your score, a credit builder loan from a credit union would be able to help you, So you'll make this fixed payments to 6 to 24 months, and your money will sit in a savings account. Now, doing this, you'll be able to access at the end of the loan term, right? When you're doing that, the lender now will be able to report that you always pay it on time. This lender will report to the credit bureau that you are able to pay your debt on time, which now will be able to help you strengthen your score. Okay, so that's a credit builder loan. So if you want to learn about that, connect with some credit union that they'll be able to help you on how to make this work. Okay, another one maybe is to seek out for a secured credit card. That's another option of building your credit. Just get a secured credit card. So this one is a strategy that requires you to put a cash deposit, typically around $200, $300, which now becomes your credit limit. So you talk to a bank, get a secure credit card, they let you put $200, $300. That now becomes a credit limit, so you can then use this credit card, just like any other credit cards that you have, and then the deposit protects the issuer from the possibility that you will not be able to pay off your balance, because in the first place, you have put money already in advance, but you're going to be using that as your credit card. So if you use a secured card, you might want to use it responsibly. Your card issuer could be able to upgrade you to a traditional unsecured card in the future, because they could see that you could follow the rules, right? And of course, they show you, you're showing them that you're able to pay this on time. So that's another way for you to be able to improve your credit score. Now, another one, just like I've said, 2-3 weeks ago, you can actually join an account as an authorized user. You don't have to use that card, so you can do this, right, by joining a trusted family members, all right, or a friend that has a credit card account, and they allow you to become an authorized user. Now you'll be able to use the card to make purchases, and the card's payments history will show up onto your credit report. Or you can also not use it, right, but you're an authorized user. Now, this is actually crucial, of course, in picking someone whose credit that you will be benefiting from. Okay? So, you have to work with the primary card holder, and then you want to make sure to pay them for the purchases that you make, as, of course, they'll be ultimately responsible for any balances of the card as well, right? But then again, you just have to make sure that when you talk to somebody, they trust you and you trust them, and you actually make an amends that they let you become an authorized user of that credit card. See if this will work for you guys. Number one, of course, if you have somebody that has a good credit score and is, that will allow you to become an authorized user, definitely this will be able to help you improve your credit. Okay. So, another one maybe is to go over your history. because you can actually dispute credit score inaccuracies, because it's not always going to be 100%. So you can actually dispute some inaccuracies on the report. So the first thing that you need to do is to get a free credit report from the 3 main credit bureaus, right? So you can make use of this annualcreditreport.com. Again, that's annualcreditreport.com. You can use that. It's free. And then you would want to check them. Of course, you would want to be careful in checking them, and then when you find that report, you definitely have the right to file a dispute if you find something that you believe that shouldn't be there. So you would find some incorrect report like late payments. You can also report the problem to, that appropriate loan or credit card issuer. You might want to talk to them about, what happened? Why did you report this one? If there is really something that's very inaccurate. And then they will be able to update that information with the bureaus. Therefore, that actually fixes the issue, and definitely it will lift your credit score. Okay. Another one that you would want to look into improving your credit is get credit for monthly bill payments. Okay. Like Experian Boost. This will actually add eligible on-time phone, utility, and streaming payments to your credit card, to your credit report. Okay, so if this is your first time to hear that, again, get credit for your monthly bill payments. All you have to do is to add those eligible on-time phone, utility, and streaming payments to your credit report. That will be able to help you. If you think you're very diligent in paying those bills, you can actually put that in your credit report, and that will actually help you lift your credit. So this will definitely be able to push your FICO score to rise. So it's free. But of course, it will only affect your Experian credit report and scores, if you would want to, right? So the average Experian Boost user who sees a credit score increase improves about 13 points. Well, I'll take it at any time, right? So if that will help you, get it, right? So if that seems to, I'll get, 5, 10, 15 points at any time just to be able to, to improve my credit. Another thing that you would want to think of improving your credit, guys, is you would want to always keeping old accounts open. Don't just close an account. Think about it first, right? So when you look at your credit score, what's the oldest account? Okay, so I've been here in the U.S. for maybe 12 years now. Yeah, 12 years. My oldest account should be about 12 years now. Okay, so you want to see what's the oldest account that you have. You want to keep it open, even though you no longer use an old credit card, it's typically best for you guys to keep this open. That's because your credit scores benefit from a long credit history, and this is and that has a high total credit limit. See, closing established account will shorten the average of your accounts. And definitely, if that's a shortened average of your accounts, it will actually lower your credit limit. See, guys? So that makes it very useful if you keep your old accounts open, even though you're not using it. It will take years before an account close, right, in good standing, that will be removed or drop off from your credit report. But the effect on the credit utilization are immediate. That's the reason why you want to look at it that way. So if a credit card comes with a high annual fee that you cannot afford, closing account may be a good option. That's why you need to know, guys, if you have credit cards, you always will look at how much is that annual fee. Because this is where you would want to have a good decision. If you really have to close one, then close. But, if you want to keep it open, that will help you too. So you have to ask your issuer, to downgrade the card to the no-fee version if possible. So how do you do that? all you have to do is to call your credit card issuer or your loan issuer, right? So that's the thing, guys. If you would want to improve your credit score, keep those old accounts open even though you don't use it. Okay? I know another one that you would want to think about is limit those new lines of credit. Again, limit it. Okay? When you apply for a new credit card or when you apply for a new loan, definitely there will be a hard inquiry. You guys know that, right? So when there's a hard inquiry, it will actually appear on your credit score. Your credit report. Now, this is going to be possibly leading to a brief dip in your score. That's a hard inquiry. Okay? So, when you do this, guys, you have to put planning in place. Plan to apply only for the credit that you definitely need. Guys, we all want to buy a new car and take out a loan out of it. There are good banks out there that you will be pre-approved. They will not do a hard inquiry until it is necessary. So you would want to look at those banks that will help you that way. You're right. So don't just go to a car dealer and allow them to have a hard inquiry automatically. Think about it. Utilize it correctly. You only make a hard inquiry when you truly need it. After you've done enough research, guys, and then after that you understand which account that you will qualify for, and avoid these new loans that, you may have difficulty paying anyway. So you can help definitely improve your credit score. Okay, so limit this new lines of credit. So a while ago, I was talking to you guys about keeping old accounts open even though you don't use it. Now, limit those new lines of credit as much as possible. Okay, another thing that may be able to improve your credit score is apply for loans within a short time period. Lots of hard inquiries in a short time could be an indication to lenders that you're searching for a line of credit that you won't be able to pay. That's just how they look at it. See, again, let me repeat that. A lot of hard inquiries in a short time could be an indication for this for these lenders that you are searching for lines of credit that you won't be able to pay. That's how they look at it. Okay? So, smart borrowers, they will apply for very few loans of the same type, right? Such as mortgages, or typically you guys always, get new cars or personal loan, and then you compare rates. For that reason, credit scorers will actually be able to treat multiple hard inquiries of the same loan type made around, that you guys did at the same time or almost at the same time. They look at it as one. Just like when you buy a car, when you have a hard inquiry right now, within 30 days, or maybe you have a 5 dealership that you went to, that should be okay. They will treat it as one. Okay? Now, this is actually going to reduce the negative effect on your credit score. So you have to try to submit this application within a short time frame only. So, well, I said 30 days, maybe put it in 2 weeks. You have to keep in mind, though, guys, that the scoring models, they actually don't offer the same allowance for credit card application. I just gave a car loan or car application example there, right? So all of this will definitely count individually. So you did a car loan there. This one is credit card. That's what I mean, right? Regardless of when you submit them. Okay? So again, apply loans within a short time period so they will only treat it as one. I hope that makes sense and that helps you guys, all right? Another thing to be able to improve your credit is to pay off credit card balances every month. We know this, right? So, well, we want to lower our debt. Definitely. We like that, right? And then we want to minimize ongoing debt by making a goal to pay off your credit cards each month. That's okay. Zeroing out your balances each statement period keeps your credit utilization low. Again, why did I make use of that statement period? Again, on your credit card, guys, there's what you call a statement period and your due date, right? So what I'm talking about here is your statement period, because this statement period will actually let you know about credit utilization. You would want to make sure that credit utilization is always going to be low. And the best way to strengthen this credit is by paying your credit card during your statement date. Now, of this time, most of the time, you'll also avoid incurring interest charges. Okay, so that's another way of improving your credit, guys. By paying off your credit card balances every month. So call your banks right now or your issuer and ask them, when's my statement date and when is my due date? Okay, another thing to improve your credit score is tracking your credit score. So if you're trying to lose weight, guys, right, you track your weight every day. So with your credit score, you have to track your credit score every now and then as well, right? So what I do, for me, I track it every week, right? So I track it every week. And when you monitor your credit score, you can definitely intervene. You will be able to intervene, if it drops. And you actually ask yourself, why did it drop? And you study it. And now you'll be able to make the necessary steps on how to address the factors that's influencing your score. So what is this? Maybe high balances or late payments or too many hard inquiries just recently. So, because you'll know anyway when you pull these reports, right, guys? So, and there are many ways on how to check and monitor your credit score for free. I mentioned one a while ago, right? So this is actually the best way to be able to monitor your credit score. For me, I use all of these free apps that will be able to give me this credit score every week. So you find a way on how for you to be able to track your credit score. All right. Another way, guys, to improve your credit is to be able to protect your financial information. Why? For you to be able to avoid fraud. Definitely, your credit will be affected by identity theft. So you have to ask yourself now, guys, nowadays, identity theft, that's real. It's happening. It can happen to you. It can happen to me. It can happen to anybody. Because with identity theft, that's easy for fraudsters to access your personal information, open accounts in your name. We don't like that, right? So to help keep your data safe, of course, we always use this. You use a password manager, and then you store this unique passwords. And of course, you avoid making financial transactions in public areas, that has Wi-Fi networks. A friend of mine, it happened to her inside the airport, using Wi-Fi there, and because these places are very vulnerable to hackers. So you would want to make sure that you protect your personal information to be able to avoid yourselves, from these fraudsters. Okay? So another way to improve your credit score, mga kaibigan, is to responsibly add to your credit mix. What does it mean? Lenders, they look for a mixed accounts in your credit file, because this will actually show them that you are able to manage multiple types of credit. Now, this includes all this, installment loans, where, installment loans, this is where you pay a fixed amount every month, and there's a revolving credit, which comes with a limit that you can actually be able to charge up. So they look at this credit mix. But if you only have one type of credit in your file, adding something different will be able to improve your credit mix as well. That's the other part of the story. But while you have this credit mix already, this will actually account for 10% of your FICO score. You shouldn't apply for new credit accounts just because you want to improve your score, guys. You have to strategize a little bit on this one, because if you just do it just because, that will put you at risk of of taking debt that you can actually not pay. So you have to strategize about this one, but definitely credit mix is something that you would want to look into, because lenders will actually look at how you're able to manage these types of credit. Of course, another thing to be able to improve your credit definitely is to create a budget. We've been doing this show for a while now, guys, and budget is something that should not be new to our ear, right? So you have to create a budget to be able to help, for you to be able to help pay off debt, and you are able to keep your spending, that you're checking for long term. Especially, guys, if the chaos of the past few years were able to affect you very, tremendously on your finance. We had this economic turmoil, we have this recession, we have this COVID, the pandemic, all of these things, And now, maybe today, this 2024, slowly we have to make sure that we put our budget intact. We have to make some budgets, because this process will be able to offer you clarity on the amount that you are earning and how much you can actually safely spend on your discretionary capacity. It doesn't mean that you have the money right now that you can spend it immediately. It just doesn't work like that. So if you have to say no on some items, just say no to some items. It doesn't mean that you don't have that funds. You just cannot use that funds at the moment. Because again, those are your discretionary items, right? So you want to make sure, guys, that you know when to say no, or you know when to use that funds correctly. It doesn't tell you where you are financially at. So because you actually have created a budget. So if you don't follow that budget, well, you know what's going to happen next, right? So you would want to make sure, guys, that you have to make your smart choices. Say, when you are so tempted in using credit card or even your savings at that, right? You actually would want to go back to your senses. Do I really want it? Do I really need it? Now you can prioritize. And then if you know how to prioritize, you're now, of course, in credit card, you'll be able to limit your credit utilization. I hope that makes sense, guys, right? So another thing that will be able to improve your credit score is work with a nonprofit credit counseling agency. Wow, Enrico, this is my first time to hear that. Well, that's good to know, guys, right? Because there is such a thing as a nonprofit credit counseling agency. The only time that you will be using this one, if you feel that, you're so unsure about how to set up a budget or how to start attacking a debt, just go to a credit counselor. There are some nonprofit agency that you can actually find in your area. Just Google it. That they will be able to give you some free initial consultation, and they'll be able to help you discuss the first steps on how you can actually be able to start your budgeting and whatever your financial needs are, right? So credit counselors are these people can also help you on your debt management plans, So this debt management plans, mga kaibigan, will be able to help some borrowers, just like us, right, to pay down very overwhelming debt. So again, guys, you might want to consider that. It's called Nonprofit Credit Counseling Agency. Okay, another one, of course, speaking about that, nowadays, scams are just here and there, right? So you might want to make sure when to use credit repairs correctly, right? And you would want to make sure that you avoid these credit repair scams. Some for-profit companies that, they claim to be able to remove negative information from your credit, from your credit report for free. In fact, guys, I'm not saying that, you do it your own, but if you do some research, some of these items you're able to do yourselves. But then again, if you don't want to make all this tuition fees, the mistakes to make it, find a legitimate credit repair company. But the truth, guys, is, that no company, this is the truth, guys, there's no company can legally erase information, from your file. Well, if it's accurate. Again, they cannot remove it legally if it's accurate. Again, we talked about some inaccuracies a while ago. This is what I'm saying. If there are some wrong things in your file, definitely, that can be removed. But for those accurate items in your file, definitely there's nothing that will be able to, to remove that. The reason I'm saying this one, guys, is I want you to avoid spending money on credit repair, and then, take those tried and true steps to improve your score instead. Again, I was telling you, you can actually be able to do it yourself if you want to. But then again, if you don't have the time, you're not so confident about doing that, consult with the right people that will be able to guide you on how to do this. One thing is that you don't have to have a credit repair people is lower the debt balances and just keep paying your bills on time. That's what I'm trying to say, right? But then again, if you really truly need someone, you want to make sure that that's a legitimate credit repair company, because I want you guys to avoid credit repair scams. Okay? All right. Another one that I could actually give you to be able to improve your credit is your rent payments. You can add that to your credit report. If you regularly pay your rent on time, add those payments to your credit report, because they will be able to boost the amount of positive information reported on your credit bureaus. So how do you do that? Well, sign up with the one I told you a while ago, Experian Boost. This can be one of those eligible items that will be able to be counted to be able to improve your credit score, because adding an eligible rent payments to your Experian credit score is going to be helping you improve your credit. By the way, guys, this is actually free. Wow, mga kaibigan, this is a lot. Maybe I gave you about 20, 25, I don't know, items on how to be able to improve your credit score. Guys, you could probably use 1, 2, or 3 of this one. This will definitely help you improve your credit score. All right, mga kaibigan, I hope that will help you in this episode about how to improve your credit score. Again, this is Enrico. You're listening to In My Toolbox, signing off.